Mississippi is the poorest state in the country, but that didn't stop Brett Favre from allegedly treating it and the state's welfare fund like a bank for his pet projects. The Associated Press reports that 2 years after he secured millions of dollars from that fund for his daughter's college volleyball team, he went back to the Republican governor, Phil Bryant, to ask for more money for another facility for the University of Southern Mississippi's football team. But the request went nowhere. Neither Favre nor Bryant has been charged with any crime, and Favre has claimed that his fundraising efforts were honorable. Now, it is disgusting, but not entirely surprising that the state's Republican governors and their state legislatures have consistently failed Mississippi's most vulnerable, including the people who live in the state capital, Jackson, long neglected by the state, with low-income citizens living in squalid conditions with no access to clean water. Congressman Benny Thompson, who represents the city, has accused state leaders of intentionally withholding resources. Maybe Brett Favre could send a text to get some action. According to Politico, House appropriators are considering sending the city $200 million to finally address the city's crumbling, dysfunctional water system. In the meantime, a group of Jackson residents are seeking class action status in order to file suit against current and former city officials, accusing them of ignoring the water system for years. Joining me now from Jackson, Mississippi is Bishop William Barber, co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, who just led a Moral Monday march in the state capitol, and Brooke Floyd, a Jackson resident and activist who is demanding that the state government do more. Thank you both for being here. And I want to start with you, Brooke. My notes here say that you and your twins live in a suburb of Jackson, that you don't drink the tap water because your doctors warned you about the lead levels. This sounds like an ongoing, long, systemic problem. What do you make of this idea of suing the city? Is the city to blame or is it the state?
I actually live in Jackson. I'm a resident of Jackson. And no, this is a problem that has been going on for decades. And I believe that the citizens have every right to sue the state of Mississippi for neglect and not repairing our infrastructure years ago.
And is Jackson, has the leadership in Jackson gone to the state? Because I understand they've gone back and forth to the state, and we're seeing Brett Favre get millions and millions of dollars, and Jackson seemingly get nothing.
Our mayors, as far back as I can remember, have asked state leaders for assistance in repairing our aging infrastructure. They have not received it, not received a large enough amount to offer the repairs that we needed. And so here we are, our system failed. And we are still going to experience this in the winter months if it is not completely repaired. All they have done is done some patchwork, okay? The state has not fixed it yet. So that is why we are here today. That's why we are demanding that our water systems be fixed, that our pipes be fixed, that our children are no longer exposed to lead and copper and bad things in their water, because we deserve clean water.
Bishop Barber, I remember when you launched Moral Mondays in North Carolina, and this was the denial of health care to the residents there. You are relaunching that in Jackson, Mississippi, in Mississippi. Your thoughts on this decision-making about where to spend money on sports facilities that Brett Favre and his daughter benefit from, not on Jackson?
Well, you know, it's been hard for me not to say what Nina Simone said about Mississippi. But the bottom line is, you see all of this thievery that's allegedly happened between the government and Favre, and yet there's people here, and not only are they stealing money allegedly, they're stealing poor folks' money, the money that comes from poor people. We look at what's going on with this family. We look at the fact that the mayor has had a plan. Jackson has had a plan. They've lied on this city. We look at the fact that the city voted to tax itself to fix it, and then the state government and the governor blocked them from using their own money to fix the problem. What you have here is a group of folk who are intent. They want privatization. They want to own this city. They want to own the airport. Seemingly, they want to steal the money. They don't want poor people to have anything. But what's happening is poor and low-wealth people of every race, creed, and color are standing up, because this water is hurting Black people and women and men and the disabled and Latinos and white people. And this Moral Monday is the first. When we started in North Carolina, it was 17 people. They have 10 times, 20 times more people than that here. And this is just the first. What we're not going to do, be silent. What they're not going to do is allow them to do patchwork and then get it out of the media and continue to do the same old, same old. People are tired of having to wash their babies in poison water and don't know what's in it. They're tired of it. And it happens year after year because the state and the governor has been more interested in blocking fixing what needs to be fixed than helping to fix what needs to be fixed. The state, the federal government, our Corps of Engineers, all of them could get in here and do this. My sister Mallory just said it. If this was anywhere else, if this was in an affluent community or an affluent city, this would not be happening. This would not be happening. It's happening here because of that, but people are standing up and deciding that they're not going to be silent or quiet anymore on these matters. And they've been organizing for years about this. This is not just something just starting. These people have been organizing for years, George. Yes. What was the question?
No, indeed. I was just going to ask Ms. Flood if you could just describe for us what it is like to live in a city, because we saw this with Flint, a city, without water, a city where you don't have access to water that comes out of your tap.
It's frustrating. It's overwhelming as a parent. When the water is gone, schools are closed. Your kids are at home. They're learning at home. I know this whole country dealt with that during the pandemic, but this has happened before the pandemic. Our children were at home for long stretches of time because the water lines broke. Our water system was broken. It is broken. And so this is, boiling water after you've gotten home from work, having just to wash the dishes, getting bottled water to brush teeth, to wash babies' faces because you don't want them to accidentally ingest the water.
Sure.
This is a time-consuming, a frustrating, money costing, you name it. It runs the list of things that are inconvenient as well as unfair. I mean, the list goes on. It's immoral. It's sinful. It's not okay, and it's not right.
And George, one thing before you go, what is also the issue? The same people here, that same governor that said they're blocking living wages. 50% of Mississippians make less than a living wage. They block health care in this state. So during a pandemic, people died because they didn't have health care. And they're also poisoning the water. That's why people are coming together, because they're tired of it and it must change.
Indeed. Bishop William Barber, Brooke Flood, thank you both very much. Much appreciated. That is tonight's Readout. All In with Chris Hayes starts now.